Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Liz, and I am going to be working with the what leftovers essentially of the Autumn to Remember scrapbooking workshop. And please excuse me, I was hoping that my cold would get better as the week went on, so I postponed filming this video. But unfortunately, the cough is lingering, and as you can tell, I have a bit of a hoarse throat. So I'll do the best I can to get through this without too many coughing fits, and I'll try and cut out any additional coughing fits that I might have. So what do I have left over from the uh, Autumn to Remember scrapbooking workshop? I have a bunch of little pieces left, and then I have a couple of big squares that we cut out of the old olive paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these leftovers, and we're going to create a 2-page layout to start with. I'm going to use the die cuts, the wood grain die cuts, and I'm going to use some of the stickers that are left over as well. So again, I don't have too much left, but I do have a significant amount, enough to create what I've laid out is another 2-page spread that's going to use the scraps that you see here on my table, including the stickers and the die cuts. And then I still have enough left over to actually do another 1-page layout. And so that will be a separate video. So that will then pretty much use up the majority of the bigger scraps, and there'll be a little bit of leftovers, but very, very little. I might bring in the changing leaves embossing. I did cut out a bunch of leaves with this, so we might pull this in, pulling in the Mocha Close to My Heart cardstock and the Cajun Craze Stampin' Up cardstock, so we might use that. I might use the Country Birdhouse stamp set. There's this stamp that looks like a wood grain. I might end up using that, I'm not sure. And then I've also pulled out the Autumn to Remember stamp set, and I might try to see about using maybe some of this as well. I haven't decided yet to jazz up the layout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and clear off this, and we're going to get going with making this layout. All right. So what I did is I went through my cardstock and I tried to find a cardstock that I thought might really work with what I had left. I started with white, and I didn't like the way it looked. So I went ahead and went through, and Close to My Heart had Shortbread. And it's this really nice light tan color. And again, Close to My Heart cardstock was 2-sided. So there's a dark side and there's a light side. And I am going to work with the light side of the Shortbread. The pieces that I picked out to use on this layout, I have this tree layout, or this tree pattern paper, and on the other side are just the lines making, what is that, a square pattern. But I really like the trees. I'm going to use, this is leftovers from the specialty paper, so I'm going to use this because it goes really well with the cardstock, the old olive cardstock, and it brings in a little bit more brightness to this. And then I'm also going to use this tree patterned paper. The other side is green. I didn't want to use the green because it was a little bit too matchy, but I really like this terracotta sort of color that the Cajun Craze is, which is why I had thought that I might use the Falling Leaves, right? That's the name of this Changing Leaves hybrid embossing folder. Why I might use that with this as well. All right. So with that, I'm going to start laying out what I think is going to be my final design for this. So I'm going to just set a couple of pieces aside. Now I have these 2 pieces of these are 8x8, 8 by, I think it's 8x8. Yeah, 8x8 squares. And I wanted to do something a little bit different. something that I hadn't done before. And so part of me wanted to offset these squares sort of in opposite corners of the layout like this, and leaving plenty of room on the sides, but not having it directly in the center. And then I had this piece of the trees where I thought would be really cool to kind of stack up on top of this this piece here. What didn't work is the other piece of trees that I had was obviously this long strip. And so what I decided I was going to do instead was I was going to go ahead and mirror it, but we're going to have it just slightly different on the right-hand side. So we're going to have this trees running along the bottom. We're going to put the green square on top of the trees, and then we're going to do the opposite over here, and we're going to use the trees, and then we're going to have the green underneath the trees. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe I can bring in a few more elements to this as well. And so I had these two strips of paper. And again, this has trees on one side and then the animals on the other side. I didn't like the pink and the trees. And plus the trees were going the wrong direction on one of my cuts. And with the animals, it didn't really matter because the animals are going all different directions. So my plan is I'm going to put this along the sides here of this. And then I was going to take the tree cuts here, and we're going to add this to extend this a little bit further out. I'm going to shift that down a little bit. We're going to extend this a little bit further out. And again, I'm going to stagger this a little bit differently because I don't want it to be a perfect line with this tree piece. And then the last thing we're going to do is I was going to put this green, the stripe with the green and the yellows on top of that, like that. So that's sort of my paper layout that I was thinking about doing. That will allow me to grab enough pictures that I think will fill out this particular layout. So I can put a 4x6 here. I can do a 3x4. And then let's see, on this side, I wanted to do a 4x6 on this side, like that. And again, a 3x4 over here. And then let's see, what do I have left? And then I think I was going to do a 4x6 on this side. No, I think 4x6 on this side with a 3x4. And then just another 3x4 on this side. So that's what's going to give me sort of enough pictures, because that gives me 4 on one side and then 3 on the other. So again, I've got 7 pictures that will fit on this layout. And that's really a nice number. I like having at least 6 to 7 pictures on a layout. And so this is what I think we're going to go with. Then what I can do is pull in all of these other pieces to offset this. And one of the things I want to do is I want to use this autumn days, which is one of the phrases that is part of this die cut set. And I really wanted to use that. I didn't really like Oh Blessed Day and Give Thanks I'm going to use on that last layout that I have. So Autumn Days is something I wanted to use. And then I'm going to also go through the stickers and figure out which of these stickers I really want to use. And I'm going to be able to use up quite a few. I think the only thing I'm not going to be able to use a lot of is this Bliss. I never quite figured out a way to use that one. So we'll have to see if I can find a way. The last thing is I do feel like this corner up here feels a little bit like the paper feels really flat. What I am going to do is I am going to think about the best way to make that feel less flat. And so that's why I had thought maybe I would come in with the leaves and add some of those. But when I added them to this side, it felt okay, but it didn't feel right on the left side. It felt okay on the right side, but it felt really heavy on the left side of this layout. And so I didn't think that that would really work. And so what I'm thinking I'm going to do now is to add some texture or to add some interest to this plain piece of paper. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. I'm going to take all this off. I'm going to come back and I'm going to go back to my stamp sets and I'm going to see if I can get some interest with either this stamp from the Country Birdhouse, even this stamp from the Autumn to Remember. And I'm also going to look for maybe another stamp set that can add a little bit more interest to this background before we started hearing all of these papers. So I'm going to go off and do that, and I'll come back and we'll go ahead and go through that process. All right. So I took a bunch of stuff off of the layout, went through my stamps. Again, I said that I might use this stamp from the Country Birdhouse, and then I went to my Art of Texture. And these are really good stamps to add interest to a big piece of paper. Like a layout, because you can get some textural interest with just doing a few stamps from this. And the stamp that caught my eye on this one is this one down here. That is really, I don't know, I like the movement here that looked like a ring of a tree. So part of the rings of the tree. So I thought I would try that one. So what I did is I took some scraps of this, the shortbread paper, and I stamped it. And I stamped both of these, the one that was from the Country Birdhouse, and then this one. And then I did an overlay of the Country Birdhouse stamp on this one. And I don't really like the way that looks, but I did like when I first stamped this, the way that the Art of Texture stamp looked. So then what I did is I auditioned it essentially underneath here, because again, remember the idea here is I wanted to create this, this is some textural interest behind these pieces. And so when I did that, I did really like the way that that looked. So, so I am going to go with the Shortbread ink. So Close to My Heart Shortbread ink and the Art of Texture stamp as my go-to for this. And I'm going to do direct paper stamping. So I'm going to do that on both sides of this layout. And the easiest way to do it is to have your papers laid out the way that you think you are going with them. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stamp directly to paper, and we're going to do probably a couple of stamps, but we're just going to shift the paper out of the way for where we think we're going to put this, using the location as the reference point. So I'm going to ink this up, and then I'm going to kind of decide where I want this to go. And then I'm going to just shift my papers out of the way and put that down. And all right, so I left off stamping, and I'm not sure my video cut, and I'm going to have to see where we ended up with my last piece that I was filming. But I have gotten that stamp from the Art of Texture. So I'm using again the Art of Texture, and I have added that right under that corner where I have these three pieces matching up. And again, what I'm trying to do is get a little bit of texture and interest on this flat page. So I've laid out the other pieces. And again, I do apologize for the coughing. I'll try to limit it as much as I can. But I wanted to lay out some of the other pieces just to see where else I wanted to add some of this texture. And so what I want to do is I want to add some on this section right here where this autumn days is going to sit, which is the title, as well as where that photo is. So I want to, again, take the Sundance, and I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to sort of play around with this for a minute because I'm not sure exactly which direction I want it to go, because I want it to kind of be in this area, but I don't necessarily, and I want it to go underneath things. So I think that's going to be the best way to go. So I'm going to, again, just move things over just a little bit and place that down. And then I'll bring everything back in and see if I need any additions to this. So again, just bringing all of this back here, and I'll see if I want to add any more to this. And again, this is really about preference and decision. So I might go ahead and add another one kind of coming out and going under these other two pieces, because it feels a little bit lonely to me. So again, we'll ink this up, and we can go like that. So we'll just shift everything out of the way here, and we'll add that there. And bring everything back in. And this is, you know, usually the way that I go ahead and, you know, add some of that visual interest to just plain paper if I'm not using a lot of patterned paper on my background. So that just sort of helps me create some interest within with the eye for this, for the layouts. Okay, so I like that. So what I think is I also need something up in this corner for balance. Again, this is looking a little bit heavy on this left side. So I want to go ahead and make sure that I've got some balance. And I don't necessarily want too much showing. Just trying to decide. I think that I like the arch. So I think we're going to do that. So we're just going to slide this down, and we're going to add that right there. Okay, and then again, bring everything back up, and then just take a look at it one more time. And again, obviously this isn't the final placement of everything. Everything's going to get lined up and a little bit more adjusted, but I'm trying to get the overall impression. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. I think we've got some interest with the eye on that side. So anything I do on one side, I want to do on the other side. So looking at this side, what I think I want to do is, again, sort of mirror what I've done here in this section over here. So again, trying to balance it. And so we're going to go ahead and move all of this out of the way. And we're going to just add that there. And then we've got a little bit of interest, again, sort of matching what we have on the right. And I think what I want to do is down here, I want to do some as well, like that. And then over here in this section, I know I'm going to have a cluster over here, but I think I want to add a little bit, and I do want it to go underneath. So I think we're going to add a couple over here. And again, what we've done is kind of created a triangle here of these stamps. So I've got a triangle here, and I've got a triangle over here. And anytime you do things, a triangle just is very visually pleasing to the eye. And so it can be really helpful if you think about placing things in a triangle formation. And it does help with the eye and the traveling of the eye. All right, so I think I'm pretty happy with that. And I think we've got enough interest now on the paper. So at this point, I am pretty good with that. And what I need to do now is go ahead and adhere all of this down, and um, and then we're going to come back and do the embellishments. So I will go do that off camera and then come back and show you where I'm at. Said I've got everything down. I've popped all of the photos up on 3D foam tape because I don't have very much dimension on this layout right now. And so most of my dimension is going to come from that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start adding our embellishments. And so on the left-hand side, I pulled out of the die cuts this wreath. That was part of the die cut. So that one is one that I thought I would use. I thought I would use this little, what is this? This is a tree stump. And then there is this little saying that says best life. And so I thought I would go ahead and add that up here to add some interest up here at on the top left hand side. As far as the stickers go, so those are all the things that I'm going to be using on the left-hand side with the die cuts. I thought I would go through the stickers and pick out a few things that I thought I could use for this. And I thought the Golden Leaves Autumn Breeze, which is one of the little tags, I thought would be really nice to use. And then Days to Remember, I thought might work really nice over there as well. And what I might do is I think I might lift this up. I haven't pushed it down too hard because I wasn't sure how much space I might need. So I will say that what I do notice is that with the Close to My Heart paper, picking up things from the Close to My Heart paper was a little bit easier than with the Stampin' Up paper. So just something to be aware of when you're doing that. So I think I'm going to lay this down. Oops, let's straighten this up here. It's also the reason why I don't push down too hard when I'm working on adhering things, because sometimes things need to move, and you're never 100%. So okay, so I think that's good. So I think we're going to pull this down just a smidge here, like so. Okay, I like that a little better. Okay, so those were two of the things I was going to use from the little banners of words, and then I had a bunny rabbit and this hedgehog and this tag, and so I thought that I could put the tag underneath like that, and then I was going to put the hedgehog and the bunny over here. So let's see if we can make that work. And again, I'm just trying to create this little cluster here on the bottom. So I think what we're going to do is I want there to be a relationship between that. Okay, so I think that's going to be my cluster over here. And then on the right hand side, I guess we'll just stick with the stickers right now. I was going to use this sticker to sort of act as a little journaling block, and then I have the owl, and then I had this changing leaves, which I thought I would put up here, or leaves are turning, which I thought I'd put up there. Oops, I had this little heart. I think my heart was supposed to go over there. And then I have these two dovetailed banners that I thought that I could use up here next to this piece here, just to give it a little bit more interest up there. And then as far as what I was going to do with the die cuts is I was going to use the Autumn Days, and I was going to use the trees. these trees. So I was going to poke one tree behind there and then another tree here like that. And then make sure that these guys are all, again, somewhat in relation to each other, touching in some way. And I know this one feels like it's floating. So I might add I'm just checking to see if there's anything else I might add, because I feel like that one tree is kind of floating out in the middle of nowhere. So maybe I don't want to pull things down too far, but no, I don't think I'm not sure if I like that or not. Okay, I'm going to think about that one for just a second before I decide. All right, so at this point now, I can go ahead and add these on. One of the things I did notice is that the autumn days is really not standing out too much. So I thought I would go ahead and grab my foam daubers again, which you've seen me use. So I'm going to pull those guys out and make sure that things don't fall down here on my desk. So just pulling out my foam daubers, I'm going to find my I'm trying to see if I have one that has, this one has shortbread, but I think I want mocha or toffee. I think shortbread's going to be too light. But I didn't label some of these. That's Sundance, that's toffee, mocha. Here's mocha. Let's use mocha, the little darker color. Because that'll go well with the darker color that's part of the trees. And again, just taking the dauber, and what I want to do is I just want to add some highlights onto this. And it's it's kind of a tough word to get all the way around with its script font, but at least if I can get like the tops here is my thought, to give it some definition, and then maybe on the bottom as well. I think it'll help it stand out from that shortbread paper, which is kind of what I'm looking for. So just trying to add some color there, get it to stand out. And then I think we'll come down here, add a little bit down here, like that. And then we'll play that down. Okay, so I think I'm going to come down this A a little bit, because this is the letter that's most on that. Okay, that looks good. And then for consistency, I'm going to go ahead and add some of that to the sign post that I'm going to add. And again, the fun thing about this signpost is you could actually write on this. You could actually put like a date or a location on this, which would be a really fun idea to mark the event and where it was, or when it happened, or what it was celebrating. So it gives you a little more space to play around, since this little journaling spot isn't going to have a whole lot of room. And then again, I'm going to come in with the tree and I'm going to do the same thing. So all I'm just trying to do is be consistent, so that when you're looking at this, it doesn't look like one thing was not done, or one thing was done and the other things, are kind of not matching closely to what I did with the autumn days. All right. So since I did that over there, I'm going to go ahead and grab my other pieces. I'm going to grab my piece that's the stump, and we're going to add some color to this as well. And I'm probably going to add a little color to the middle there. like that. I'm not sure how it's going to work on this guy, but let's see. This is a little bit more delicate, so I need to be a little bit more careful so I don't bend it too much. And okay, I don't think I'm going to do any more there. And then we have the best life up here. Now you could punch out those letters in this one, but I'm not going to do that because I don't think it's going to show up behind. It's not going to show as well with the Sundance behind it. It needs a darker color, or not the Sundance, sorry, this Shortbread. It needs a darker color in order for it the punch outs of the letters to show. So I'm not going to, I'm going to just leave it like that and then just get some color highlights there like that. And I think that works fine. Okay, so that was Mocha ink that I used. And at this point now we can go ahead and adhere down all of these pieces. I think I actually might pop up this little guy here. I think that'll be my plan. Find my scissors. And then once I get all of this laid down, we will have our fourth layout in this series that we have. Okay, so I'm thinking I might want to pop up Autumn Days, but it needs thinner adhesive. So to get thinner, I'm just going to cut this in half, this piece in half, and I'm going to cut quite a long strip of it because I'm going to need it in a bunch of different places here. And what I'll probably do, let's see, get a good one right here. I don't like the adhesive to show, and this is a very narrow scripty font. I actually think I need to cut this in half again because I don't like it when I can see the foam tape on the layout. I want to have, this is not behaving, I want to have the dimension, but I don't want to have it be visible. So, all right, so we've got that. Can we get one here and not have it show? I'm going to just flip this over. Yeah, see, this is kind of showing. Not too bad. Okay. All right, so let's get a couple more pieces of this. Okay. The U. It's hard sometimes working with these little itty bitty pieces, but all right, do some more. Cut this guy in half because we have to still do the days too. I think we'll do that next. I think what I'm gonna try and do is go around here like that. And that'll do a good job of popping that guy up. So I would love to know how many of you maybe bought this workshop, how many of you have completed it, and are you creating extra layouts from the workshops? Because like I said, there's a lot of paper that ends up being, I wouldn't say left over, but there's certainly paper that's left that you can do something with, that maybe you can use up before sort of the season goes and finishes. It's kind of over, I think fall may be officially over, at least in California. Our leaves change a lot later in the season than in a lot of places. And today is a very cold. Well, I wouldn't say cold. Today is a very rainy day for us. This is, I think, our first big rain of the season, and so I think we can officially say that we are transitioning into winter at this point, now that we've kind of had our first rain, which is all good. Nothing wrong with that. But it's kind of sad to see in California we have these beautiful fall days, which I think is maybe true in lots of different places. But for us, it's just absolutely gorgeous weather. Usually during the fall season, and so as much as we need the rain, and I love the rain, I sometimes miss. I'm more of a summer girl. I don't mind the fall, but I'm definitely not a huge winter girl. I like my warmth. Okay, so I think I've got enough on there that we can put this down, and we can then build up this cluster on the right hand side, and then we'll go back and build the cluster on the left hand side. So what are your favorite fall activities? What kind of things would you put on this layout? I know for us, we have a pumpkin festival that we go to sometimes here in Half Moon Bay. And that's fun to have pictures with all the giant pumpkins. And yeah, it's kind of different now that my kids are gone. We kind of have to find new activities, my husband and I, for things to do. I didn't expect it to be so different when my kids essentially have gone off to college and gone on their adventures, that we'd have to maybe change up some of the things that we do that we would have done with them. So interesting dilemma. Not a bad one to have. It's just a little change from what we, when we were focused on kids, and maybe what the kids would have liked even as teenagers, and what they would have gone to do with us during some of these seasonal things, and then switching over to maybe things that we're more interested in doing versus what the kids were interested in doing. So I don't have any real pictures yet from this season that I would add to this at this point, but I'm sure I've got plenty of pictures in the past of all of our fun activities when the kids were little. We had a lot of fun doing pumpkin patches and things when the kids were little. I do have to say, we have some great pumpkin patches in Northern California. So lots of ways that we could enjoy the fall season. All right, so I'm going to add this guy here like that. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that. We're going to go ahead and add it. Oops, what did I just do? There it went. I'm going to add some adhesive to this. This was a sticker, but I took the adhesive off of it so that I could place it and see where I wanted it. And then these two were stickers as well. And so we'll go ahead and add these over here, like so. And I'll cut off the tails. I'll cut off the tails here when I finish the layout. Okay. All right, so Life is Best. I'm going to go ahead and put some 3D foam tape on this. Pop it up in this upper corner. It also makes sure that those letters don't fall out, though I don't think that they will. It just will help lock those letters into place just in case. And go ahead and add that over there. And we'll add this. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and finish up this little cluster on the right, or so, yeah, on the left. Sorry, we did the right already. So I'm just going to add some adhesive to this floral circle here. And this tag, this was left over from project 2 where I cut the tag apart. You could add some twine to this if you wanted to. I'm not a huge twine or string fan. So from my perspective, I am not probably going to do that. All right, so this one I think I'm going to pop up on 3D foam tape. I need a little bit more there. So I do feel like I did quite a good job of using up a lot of the pieces of this kit. I think we're going to slide this over just a smidge. Okay, there we go. So this one just says Days to Remember. Okay. And okay, I think we'll pop up the bunny. And we are almost done with this layout. So I do think a lot of times the hardest part of some of these is just figuring out the design of the layout. And once you kind of get your pieces in place, and then you start playing with your pieces, it goes pretty quickly. Like most of my layouts are not that complex. At least I don't think they're too complex. I would love to hear if you even want simpler layouts, but I do feel like I do try to make them as straightforward as possible, and but I do try to use a lot of different techniques that you might be able to transfer from layout to layout. Like I do a lot of that inking that you've seen. That's something that you've seen me do before. So again, I do want to make sure that I have techniques and there's interest, but I also don't want to overwhelm. I like simpler layouts. I like a lot of white space or eye space with, and I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put that heart over there. Okay. So I've pretty much got all of those things done. Now my last bit is looking for what I might want to put on as additional embellishments. So I'm just going through my embellishment box here, and I'm just seeing if I see anything that kind of grabs my eye as a first pass. And I do think that these guys are the top runners. All the rest of these I don't think really fit very well the theme. So we're going to go with that. And again, I did have the twine from the Natural Tones, and that would work really nice with that tag, either the green or the, that's garden green, I think. Pretty sure that's garden green and crushed curry. But I think I'm going to go ahead and not do that because I already put the heart there. And I am going to add a few of these. And these ones, this one is the pecan pie and clear ribboned adhesive back dots. So I do have the little tool. I'm not sure I'm very good at it. I haven't really mastered the pickup tool per se. All right, so I think we're gonna put one there, one there, and one there. And let's see, do I want to do any more? Maybe up here. This looks a little crooked. Let's see if we can straighten that guy out. There we go. Okay. Maybe we'll put like one here. Here. Maybe we'll do a bigger one. There, like that. Okay. And then on this side, again, I'm going to grab just a couple of these guys. One there. There. One there. And then maybe up here by the Best Life. Grab a couple of these guys. Again, this is really just based off of what you want to do. You can put as many here as you like. Like that. Okay. All right. I'm just looking to see if I see anything else that I want to add. And I think we're good. I think that's good. Okay, so let me pull this up so that you can, sorry about that, so that you can see this layout. So again, I've added the strips that I didn't cut anything. So everything that you see on this was leftovers, and I didn't cut anything down. I just used it as is. So the olive green, I used the light side of olive green. These were all strips or squares that were left over, and I literally just added them to the page. So I figured out what was the best layout with what I had and added them to the page. So this cluster is a cute little cluster. And again, coming up, I've got the cluster at the top with the Best Life coming across. And again, the stamping that we did here. And then on the right side, again, I'll trim these guys up, but I've got, again, the stamping. And then down here, I've got the cluster of the title plus a little space for journaling. There, you could add more journaling over here as well. And then the cluster up there at the top. Okay, so that's layout number 4 using the Autumn to Remember workshop kits, a scrapbooking workshop kit. And like I said, I have one more that I will be completing. That is a 1-page layout with the balance of the scraps. So I hope to see you on the next video, and I hope everyone has a great and safe weekend. Thanks. Bye.